Welcome everybody to the channel. Today we have one of my classic, we're gonna be doing this game versus that game. But before we get into any of this video, I need to say two things here. One, over the weekend we got around 100 new subscribers on the channel, so welcome everybody new to the channel. That is awesome. This is kind of what the channel is about: video game news, information, and all of this great stuff. So I hope you guys stick around. Thank you so much for coming. And the second thing is that I need to tell you guys that these versus videos aren't me telling you which game is better, even though I do have an opinion on which one I think I'm gonna like more. What these are games that aren't released yet usually, and I tell you the most information that I can side by side with these games to help you choose, do you want this game or do you want this game? That's the kind of versus that I do here. It's not saying that one game is better than the other. I give information so you guys can choose for yourselves which one you want to get or which one you think is better. So let's get right into the video. We're not going to blabber on anymore. So the two games that we're going to be talking about are games that are coming out relatively soon, and they are open world games. The first one we're talking about is Watch Dogs 2, and the next one we're talking about is Mafia 3. Now, if you've been around the gaming scene for a while and you remember Watch Dogs 1, you know that the game was really hyped, and it was overhyped tremendously when the game actually came out. And that being the case, people were kind of skeptical with Watch Dogs 2, but Watch Dogs 2 again is being really hyped, but this looks a little bit more reasonable, so to say, than the last one's hype. Now, Watch Dogs 2 comes out November 15th, and Mafia 3 comes out October 7th. So relatively close together, and they are both open world games, and that's why I'm kind of thinking about putting these together. So let's talk about the biggest difference between these two games, and that is time setting. Mafia 3 is set in 1968 in a redone New Orleans type place, which I think I gotta look up what it's called. New Bordeaux is what they named it, but it is the New Orleans remake. And if you're not aware, in the late 60s there was a lot of racism, there was a lot of gang stuff going on, the mafia was going on, all of these mobs were happening, and because of the time frame, that is the type of game it is. Very racist, very gun heavy, very New Orleans, very all of that kind of stuff. That was probably more like a Boston accent. But Watch Dogs 2 doesn't really have a set time. I couldn't find a set time, that's so to say, but it is relatively around this time, of course, in a redone San Francisco area because of the tech. It might be around this time or it might be a little bit in the future, but the tech is really, really active in this game, in Watch Dogs 2. So Watch Dogs 2, we'll start with that a little bit. Hacking is one of the biggest weapons that you have in this game. If you aren't familiar with Watch Dogs 2, hacking is your biggest weapon. That's kind of what they kind of market this game as. Whereas in Mafia, there's a lot of guns. There's a lot of, you can do some sneaky stuff, but you can also go in guns blazing no matter what. And there are a lot of guns in Watch Dogs 2, but the game is kind of based a little bit more around stealth and using technology to get where you need to go, rather than running in there with an RPG and a grenade launcher strapped to your back and blowing everything up, Whereas Mafia 3 has a little bit more of that, let's just go mess stuff up real fast here. Both of these games are very GTA-like in a sense, and by saying that I mean very open world, and I've said this in many of my videos, open world is going to become standard. And because of that, these two games that are coming out are both very open world. They're very GTA-like, third-person style, and they are both absolutely stunning given their time set. I mean, these games are set so far apart in the time frame that each one is beautiful in its own way, so to say. So let's talk about story a little bit here. Watch Dogs 2 itself is based around corrupt people utilizing technology in a negative way to use people, to rip people off, to really benefit themselves as a whole, and kind of just totally tank an entire economy. And you as an individual need to go out and stop them by utilizing technology. You're a very tech savvy person, you're very into that kind of thing, and that is the story. I'm not going to get too much into the story because you guys can figure that out on your own. I don't want to spoil anything, but you as a person go stop these technology wizards with your wizard technology knowledge. And Mafia 3 story is about an individual who comes to this new place, this New Orleans style place, and you join a thing called the Black Mob, and the Italian mob comes and does some stuff to you, and you want to seek revenge to the Italian mob, mob versus mob kind of thing. I really like what the creative director of this game quoted, and it kind of sums up the game a lot. It is an open world crime drama, and when he says that, when I was watching trailers and I was watching gameplay, the game really plays like a movie. I'm not saying that there's a lot of cutscenes and stuff like that, but there are cutscenes that kind of lead into a gameplay experience, that lead into a cutscene that really make this feel more like a movie. Where Watch Dogs, I played through the entire Watch Dogs twice. I liked that game a lot. And Watch Dogs also plays a little bit like a movie, but it's still a little bit more like a, just do what you want kind of thing. There's a lot of side missions, there's a lot of side quests, all of that stuff. And Mafia, of course, might have a lot of these as well, but the campaign that I have watched looks a lot more like a movie than Watch Dogs 2, definitely. So let's break this down real quick for the end of the video here. Mafia 3, old-timey 60s, very racist, very movie-like, guns and a lot of mob mentality. And Watch Dogs 2 is really a sneaky type, technology-based, modern time game that really relies more on technology than on weapons itself. Even though the technology is technically your weapon, again, it's set more towards the technology side, whereas Mafia 3 is much more set towards the guns blazing, old-time type thing. So my thoughts on this is I really enjoy Mafia the way that it's set up right now. Even though I did play through Watch Dogs already twice, I like that style game, but I want to see something from back in the day, you know? I want to see that very movie-like racist type. It's not like I want to see a racist type environment, but because that is so frowned upon nowadays and because it is so taboo to go talk about and to make, I think it would be really interesting to have a game where you can experience this old-timey feel when I'm not from that. I'm from the early 90s, I'm not from the 60s, and I want to see what that's like, I want to feel what that's like, and I think Mafia is going to bring that to the table, and I'm going to buy both of the games, of course, but I really like Mafia in this matchup. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Leave a like, leave a subscription, guys, it really does help me out. I will see you guys later.